Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 219 of the Hoots podcast. In a world where people don't want to wear masks, where we have 11 matches in an AEW version of Velocity, and also in a world where women are indecisive. Welcome to the world of the Hoots podcast. It's yours truly, Joshie Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots podcast. I am not alone this week. I'm alongside the host of the TBD Wrestling Podcast, a good brother. Initially, good brothers all formulated from the Pipe Bomb days. And this young man, you can follow him at Twitter at MattMcCool24, the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or Westchester more specifically. Here he is, Matt Mitchell McMule.
What's going on, Josh? So excited to be back on the show. As always, shoot the shit, talk about some wrestling. Go Flyers, and I'm excited to talk about SummerSlam and TakeOver and some Renee Young stuff.
Yes, fresh, great Niagara Fall waterfall, just like we should too as well. I
can never start the show like immediately without just cracking up like within the first minute. It never happens. I try, but you just start going off about the masks and women. I can't do it.
Oh, there's more where that came from, pal. I hope you guys are doing well, having a wonderful week. We're about a couple days away from a really hectic wrestling weekend, especially on my end. I put it on Twitter last night. I don't even know if I'm going to do the AEW Dynamite article until Sunday morning because I got TakeOver to do at the same time. Dynamite's going to be on TNT, and then you got SummerSlam, which is probably going to be a 4 or 5 hour show, so that's going to be a long article to type out. But speaking of articles, you can find those articles and the best transcripts in all professional wrestling at ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. I want to send a quick shout out to Brother Carter, who sent us a brand new edition of the Thoughts of Jericho, which will be airing following the airing of this podcast. So make sure to stay at the end to hear what Brother Carter's predictions are for the as he said, the slam of summer. So Brother Carter does have a pre-produced segment at the end, and you guys are gonna enjoy that one as well. So I always get a crack getting these clips from him, and he has like the little dun, 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 like the little intros he makes, and then he says the most requested segment in all podcasting is the Thoughts of Jericho.
Brother Carter's still out in Boulder, Colorado. I love it.
Yes, the Thoughts of Jericho are up there, but the most requested segment outside of Wrestling Rewind on TBD Wrestling Podcast is What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? Now, for those who are listening or watching the show right now on YouTube, you're probably wondering, hey, Josh, what do you have to rag out on AEW this week? They didn't have a show last night. Just because they didn't have a show doesn't mean I can't talk about AEW on my podcast, pal.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, with that being said, for those who are watching or listening for the first time, I am not fully 100% against AEW. I wanted to make that perfectly clear. As a guy who I covered every single event that AEW has produced so far since they started back in last May. I covered Dark every week. I just mentioned in the beginning of the show, they had 11 matches on Dark this week. Ridiculous. But
I don't know how you do that, dude.
Yeah. Just with any other wrestling show, I give you my thoughts on the overall show. This is not a show that I come on here and pop a blood vessel over who loses a match or who wins a match or anything like that. This is not a dirt sheet show. This hasn't been a dirt sheet show, nor will it ever be a dirt sheet show. That's not what we do here. If you want to hear a petulant child whine like a fucking 13-year-old, go check out The Observer. It has everything you need on that programming.
And they don't get paid by AEW, right?
No. Why would they? Right. Yeah, just like Wade Keller doesn't either because he has contacts with Jon Moxley.
No, it came out on like their tax return or something that they all get paid by AEW.
Yeah. Hey, Wrestling Media 2020 still hasn't changed. How about that?
Yeah.
There's some good news out there. Obviously, I'm excited for the return of Rant with Dan, now known as Rant Foundation, the podcast. The good brother Anthony Stefano is bringing his show back. I think it's the week up. I think it's the week after SummerSlam.
And said he's reporting on Tuesday, so the episode will come out next week. But yeah, it's awesome. Ant back.
Yeah, so for me, one of my favorite wrestling podcasts that was out during the time that this show was initially starting. Here's the crazy thing. I put it on Instagram story today. You guys can check me out there, Joshie Lopez 94. I put like, hey, not only is it today's National Radio Day, but like I've been in broadcasting for 7 years. I've been doing 7 years of these type of shows. And I've seen a lot of good shows go, and I've seen a lot of bad shows justifiably go. And Ant's always had, at least in my opinion, one of the most elite podcasts out there in the world. So I'm happy for him. He's going to kick ass, and I love their new shirt. Obviously, I wear a lot. The Rand Foundation t-shirt, just absolutely.
It's good colors. It's all the Rand Foundation. I know Ant likes Bret Hart. It's perfect. I know I know he retired, but I know he's missing it. And Ant's the perfect guy for a podcast. He's passionate. He works hard. He's a great promoter. So I'm excited to see Ant back as well. And also, NAI is back for a YouTube network show, the NAI Network. So it's really cool that everybody's getting back in the game and all the community is coming back after a few people left.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to the NAI guys as well. I think the last one of them I talked to was Bill, but shout out to Liam and Jason as well. So shout out to those guys. And then finally, a couple of things as far as this podcast is concerned. I think next Saturday, I'm having a little special podcast episode here on our feed that I'm doing with the one and only King Ajar.
Yes, let's go.
We're gonna have a fun discussion. This is gonna be a once a month special where I reach out to my friends, people who work in the industry, and just have nuanced conversations about the industry as a whole. And when King comes on, our focus is going to be talking about the coverage of professional wrestling. And I want to get his insight because he is a WWE stockholder and he understands the television business. So if you guys really want to hear me go in depth as far as about demos and my real thoughts on Nielsen, since that's what everybody still uses in the third cheese these days, make sure to check out that podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, we'll talk about Big E and Big Small's probably outside of CM Punk, Notorious B.I.G. is my biggest life model when it comes to celebrities. And yes, I'm excited to talk about that with King because he's a big hip hop fan as well. So it's gonna be a fun conversation. I haven't done a show with King since he was a guest on the Pipe Bomb. So
I'm pretty sure we did that show down here in Seattle. Almost positive it was like a Saturday. It was me, you, and Rob. King's always great when he comes on the Pipe Bomb. I actually had a chance to hang out with King when he very generously got VIP tickets to meet Sasha Banks. So we hung out at Access at Mania 33, and great guy for sure. And that was also when I did the Sasha entrance, and that's been tweeted out on the Tweetiverse.
Man, it's a crazy thing. It's been 3 years since we were at WrestleMania together.
Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy. It's crazy how fast time flies. I mean, I can't believe we're already to SummerSlam.
I know. Things are going to get interesting in the next couple of months. And we don't know what's going to go on with the virus and the pandemic. So I hope everybody's being safe out there and being cautious with what you're doing. So,
wear your mask, don't talk to people. And actually, interesting, I had a chance to fly down to Florida to do a little vacation with the family. And I honestly feel safer flying than I do going to a grocery store. I mean, it's safe. You have to wear your mask the whole time. They give you hand sanitizer. They spray off the seats. Like if the flight wasn't that full, people stand away. Now, granted, the Atlanta airport was a little bit ridiculous, but that's the biggest and busiest airport in the country. So I recommend, obviously, if you don't have to fly, don't do it. But if you want to go somewhere or you have to go somewhere, I wouldn't hesitate to do it. It was a nice experience to have that. It was just weird having to wear your mask the whole time. That was the only thing.
It's cool that you got to go down to my favorite state.
Yeah.
But
I was on the Panhandle, not in other areas. More to the right.
Yeah, you were by the intellectual side of the area.
I was floating in the Gulf of Jericho.
Oh God! Watch out, man. Last piece of plugs before we get to wrestling conversation. We're gonna do a little sports here in the beginning as well.
Cool.
But last things and plugs. If this is your first time listening or watching the show, thank you for the support. This is a very chill, genuine pro wrestling / live podcast. This podcast is, I want you guys to feel like I'm sitting next to Matt and we're having a conversation about wrestling. This is not a ESPN show or anything like that. This is about fun. We have no filter. So, yeah, maybe a couple F-bombs early in the morning may throw you off. But if you're at the podcast, just pretend it's night and then we're just shooting the shit. So
we don't have any hidden agendas to pump certain promotions or, twist ratings or anything like that.
No, we don't have time for that nonsense. We're here to remind you that it's okay to be a wrestling fan. And obviously the goal for the Hoots podcast is for the greater good of wrestling fans. And again, it's just a reminder that you could enjoy wrestling without having dirt sheet mentality the entire time while watching it. So I want to thank every one of you who take the time to listen to the show, whether it's 5 minutes, wherever it is. I really appreciate it because sometimes I don't even like hearing myself editing the show or whatever, but that's just a self-doubt thing that I always dealt with over the years. But I'm very grateful and I'm very proud of what the show's done over the last.
I'm proud of you, dude. It's unbelievable 5 years. The momentum that you've gained with the show and all the listens and tweets and stuff. So you got to be really proud of yourself, 100%.
Yeah, folks, we're 15,000 away from 200,000 on Anchor, which is
insane. Awesome. That's insane.
Big, as MVP would say, big things are popping and little things are stopping. So,
Hurt Business.
Yes, I love the Hurt Business.
The Hoots podcast, Hurt Business. Hey, when you get to 200,000, we should do some kind of special thing on the show.
We'll do that for sure.
I'll bring a cake. How about that?
What's ironic about all this? We did our first show together. I think it was right before WrestleMania, and here we are now for SummerSlam, and I think we've had like almost 80,000 listeners since.
Holy crap!
But
for the pandemic, the Hoots podcast.
Yes, sir. Make sure to subscribe to the show, whether it's Apple Podcasts. You can follow the show on Spotify as well, or Stitcher. Do the same thing for Max Show, TBD Wrestling Podcast. They have a fun show. And guess what, folks? I'm going to be on the show next week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Josh, we're doing a little crossover. I'm on the show today, and Josh is going to be on, like you said, TBD Wrestling. We've record on Tuesdays and release on Friday, Saturday. So it's me and referee Tony S. We have a great time. We answer your 3 crown questions. So a big part of the show, whether it's the pipe bomb, WR pod, or TV wrestling, for me has always been fan interaction and 3 counts of fun segment where fans send questions. And Josh is always sure to throw a little waterfall question in there to to make me laugh in the middle of the show. But it's always a good time, and I've really enjoyed being recording with Tony and working together the last couple months. It's been fun.
What did I text to Rob yesterday? Fresh baked pierogies.
Yeah, Rob texted our group chat and just said titty meat. We're like, what? It was so random, but it was so funny.
I really do hope, folks, before we get back to having full fans in the arena and stuff, that we do have a pipe bomb reunion show.
Yeah,
we got to get that done.
We got to do that, but it's got to be done right with everybody.
Oh man! All right, Mitchell McMule. We're gonna start off with sports really quick.
All right,
and also gonna tie in Renee Young here because it could have sports tied to it as well.
Yeah.
First off, I want to send a very happy birthday shout out to 2 people really quick. First off, my buddy Andrew Browning. Happy birthday, buddy. Shout out to you. Also, happy birthday to Mitch Trubisky, who turned 26 today. Quarterback of my Chicago Bears. See, I got my mask over here. This is where I wear my tattoo shop that I work at. If I could wear this at a tattoo shop with annoying girls laughing like fucking seagulls for 3 hours, I think you could wear a mask as well.
Yeah.
So, happy birthday to Mr. Trubisky. Before we get to Renee Young, I wanted to get really quick your thoughts on what's going on sports-wise. I know you were upset last week what went down with the NCAA, and I got to get your thoughts on the Flyers and Eagles before we move on.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of sports right now, I have so enjoyed watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. The NHL has done an absolutely phenomenal job with the bubble. 0 positive tests, but the playoffs are as great as ever. It was really nice, like, because as a hockey fan, I've never had the opportunity to have a March Madness style schedule. And I swear, I mean, I've been watching hockey every single day. There's games from 12 o'clock until 12 o'clock at night. I love that. And my Flyers have played pretty well. A little frustrating game last night. The Montreal Canadiens decided to play a little dirty because they can't keep up with us. But we did make a few mistakes. We had a lead. But our power play was like 1 for 26, and we had a chance to score after a double major. Somebody hit up high. So I think it was Felipe Myers or Travis Sanheim. But anyway, Game 6 is going to be tomorrow. I'm excited about that. And the Eagles have been cool. Training camp's been fun, and Deshaun looks faster than ever. So sports have been cool. The only thing that does kind of suck is the Sixers are really shit in the bed, but I didn't expect them to do anything in the NBA playoffs at all. Of course, Ben Simmons gets injured. I'm not a huge fan of his at all. I don't respect that guy one bit. I just don't think he cares personally.
No, I have no respect for him either.
Yeah.
I also lost respect for Alshon Jeffrey before he left the Bears.
Why is that?
Just the locker room stuff. And I saw what happened last year where people were saying that he was the one behind the sources about Carson Wentz not being the good leader or whatever. I just think Alshon's always been two-faced as a person. He's a good football player. He has a great catch radius and all that, but just as a person. And here's the thing. He was a guy that was mentored by Brandon Marshall. So that tells you everything.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know, man. First, it was Josina Anderson that came out with the report, and I don't really believe everything she says at all. But would I be surprised? Is he the kind of guy that if things aren't going well could say something and get upset? Yeah. I mean, but I think that he's working hard the all season, and I'm expecting him to contribute a little bit. It just might not be until after the first 6 weeks of the season. So we'll see. I mean, anything we get out of him this year is a positive because he really didn't play at all last year.
Yeah. And then we got the rookie receiver, Jalen Reagor. I saw him on NFL Network yesterday, and seeing Darius Slay out there.
Darius Slay has been such a addition, man. He's been like keeping all the guys loose, and we finally have a number one shutdown cornerback and a guy that can make a lot of plays. Because we had trash Ronald Darby for a couple of years, and he got turned around a lot.
Well, let me just say that I appreciate the fact that Darius Slay's out of the NFC North now. So, thank you very much. Other NFL stuff I noticed, I saw that Gerald McCoy tore his ACL for the Cowboys.
You see the video of how it happened?
Yeah.
Man, like that wasn't a drill. That wasn't even like in full pads.
I broke somebody's collarbone in practice before.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's football. Injuries happen, but it's great. I think Adam Schefter put out a tweet like all these players that just got hurt in one day, like because guys haven't been training the same way they would in a regular offseason because of COVID. So people are going to get injured more. It's just going to happen.
Yeah. Don't you feel like the NFL this season is like Hunger Games?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially watching Hard Knocks. Like you don't like, I guess in your mind as a fan, you think, okay, it's COVID. Like they're going to have different safety protocols, but I really didn't truly get it until I watched Hard Knocks. Like the amount of, they have to be tested every single day. I think through September 5th, and wear masks all the time and change their locker. You see the Rams locker room is like in the middle of a field. Like it's crazy.
I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about Hard Knocks because I was like really into it last year because it's like the return of John Gruden and stuff and stuff like that. And I enjoy watching Raiders stuff. And shout out to Adam, my brother of all brothers. Just watching the Raiders and stuff. And they had freaking Frank Caliendo do the John Gruden impression. But I wasn't sure how this one was going to be because I'm kind of indifferent to the Chargers. I think it's kind of odd that both their jerseys are practically the same this season.
It's such a weird thing when they play each other, man. Like I know that people were pissed when the Rams, the Chargers jerseys people love, which they're great. But the Rams' new logo is trash, and I have no idea why they did. If they would have made the new Ram logo their primary, I think people would have loved it. I like that part of it, but just the LA with like the little, it looks like a Chargers logo, pretty much.
It looks like ass. Let's be honest. You know, I'm just curious to see how things could go with the Rams and Chargers this year. I'm excited to see the new layout for their stadium, and of course the Death Star, as I'm calling it.
Oh yeah, Raiders stadium looks awesome, man. We play out in Vegas next year, and I'm definitely going. I've also never been to Vegas, so never been to Vegas, and also I just can't imagine there's going to be all Eagles fans on the Strip. It's going to be half the crowd of Eagles fans. I'm telling you right now.
Are you guys playing the AFC North this year?
I think we are. Yeah, so we have to. I think we have the Ravens. I believe we go to Pittsburgh, and I'm not sure like where the games with the Bengals and the Browns are.
I had the smallest glimpse of Heinz Field when I went to go visit Adam in Pittsburgh last year, and wasn't really that impressed by the stadium. But
I'm never impressed by anything in Pittsburgh. And shout out really quick to the Pittsburgh Penguins who are playing golf right now in Pittsburgh instead of being in the bubble right now. Shout out. See you guys later. But I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to jinx anything because we are still in Game 6 tomorrow, and two teams already advanced, the Bruins and the Lightning. It's just frustrating we couldn't close it out, man. So frustrating.
While the Chicago Blackhawks have the best logo and jersey in hockey, the Flyers may have the best mascot that I've seen in hockey.
Oh, man. You know, I'm actually looking – I have a little like a gritty thing my friend gave me, the Flyers gave out. It's like a car magnet, so it's a little stuffed gritty, and it's just on the window. And actually, it's really funny. So the Flyers do this thing, for those of you that don't know, called the Community Caravan, where they have like parades all around the area. And they came down here to Seattle City, New Jersey last week, and I was on cloud nine. I got so many great pictures of Gritty. Gritty was like, there was this house where everybody had like shirts out, a bunch of decorations, and I knew they were going to stop. So then they stopped, and Gritty literally ran into somebody's house. Like he broke and entered in some, like he's crazy. He was hanging out in the Seattle City boat and running up and down the street. Like it was such a genius creation, man.
Yeah. Really quick on the Chicago sports end. By the way, really quick, every time I think about Hawks and Flyers, I just wonder if Chris Progner hates Patrick Kane.
I'm sure he does. Everybody does. And the thing that really sucks about Patrick Kane is that we were the worst team in hockey that year, but we lost the lottery. You guys won the lottery. You get Patrick Kane. And then I believe it was 3-4 years later, he scored the game-winning goal and beat us in the Stanley Cup Finals. And he's the best American player of all time. So,
yeah, we lucked out on that one.
Good times. And we got James Van Riemsdyk instead. So
he's not too shabby. Really quick, I was thinking about this with Chicago sports. So Hawks are now golfing with the Penguins as well. They got bounced from the first round due to Golden Knights, and this will be a good transition to our next talking point. But so I wasn't really expecting much with the Hawks because first off, they had to win a qualifier to even get in the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first place. So the fact that they pushed the series as far as they did, I thought it was a testament to the players that are still on the team. I still think there needs to be some changes. I feel like Corey Crawford's very underrated and undervalued, especially here in the city of Chicago as far as media is concerned and what he does to the team. But there has to be a lot of guys that were on championship teams that probably have to go. As much as I love watching Duncan Keith play, I'm pretty sure his time is coming up, and you have to start investing money on bigger players this time, and not just guys who just won championships. Because hell, you remember the 2003 Lakers that had like Karl Malone, Gary, and all that people trying to win another championship, and then they got swept by the Pistons. That's kind of like how I felt watching the Hawks against the Golden Knights this series. So,
I'm really impressed by you guys. Because you're the last seed in the playoffs in the Western Conference and beat an extremely skilled Oilers team. And not only beat them, but you beat them in their home city and their home building.
Oh, that was awesome.
Playing with house money. I'm right there with you. Like, I think that I have to give a lot of credit to the veteran leadership of, Taves and Patrick Kane and Duncan Keith and Corey Crawford. And it was really great playoff experience for a lot of your really good young players, which you do have a couple. So future is bright. Just got to keep trying to add pieces around them and decide, what you're going to do with those big contracts. I know Duncan Keith has a really big contract. Yeah. You're not going to get rid of Patrick Kane. Probably not Taves, but Duncan Keith, maybe.
Seabrook's got to go too.
Yeah.
This weekend's not only a big wrestling weekend, it's a big weekend here in Chicago because we got Cubs versus White Sox at Wrigley, as I like to call it, or the Swamp in Wrigleyville. Cubs, I'm not buying what they're doing so far this season, and there's only so much you can gauge with it being a 60-game season, but I'm really happy to see how the White Sox going on with their 4-game winning streak right now. They had a nice comeback win last night against the Tigers, as I like to call them. I forgot which show that was. Do you know Tigger the Pooh? I'm trying to remember.
The Tigger song?
Yeah.
Sing about Tiggers.
Yeah, that's what reminds me of Detroit Tigers. Yes.
I've been at that park. I also there's like an SBA in Michigan, like a Sports Business Association, and we had like a little meet and greet there and then went to the game. And I actually passed out in their front office conference room.
Oh wow.
Because I not locked my knees. So then everybody in the SBA knew me, and this is my freshman year, knew me as the kid that passed out and broke his nose.
It's not too bad. Detroit sleeps in their front office as well.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was saying is I was like, yeah, I'm a Phillies fan, so that red's going to be on their carpet forever, man.
Oh, man.
You know what the Phillies are doing? They have this thing called the Pandemic Crew where there's fans that go kind of towards the end of the stadium and make noise. And I don't know if you heard about this, Josh, but I think it was 2 weeks ago that the Yankees were here and they were blowing air horns and Aaron Boone stopped the game and the umps were like, we can't do anything about it. They're outside the ballpark.
Wow, Aaron Boone's so annoying. I can't.
Yeah, he is.
But it's cool to see Joe Girardi back in managing position.
Gabe Kapler was so incompetent, man. He's terrible. Mm-hmm. Awful manager. And that's exactly who I wanted. I mean, the Phillies been kind of up and down. We did beat the Red Sox big time and then lost to them yesterday. So it's going to be kind of an up and down. Our bullpen is terrible.
I hope my Chicago White Sox put a straight boot up the Cubs' ass this weekend. So
I also hate the Cubs too. And you know why I hate the Cubs? And this is going to sound really stupid because I felt like their fan base just whined for years. We never won a World Series. Blah blah blah. We're so sad. We never won.
Well, okay, get over it. They won a World Series, and the same Cubs fans you talk about ran Joe Madden out of the city, which makes absolutely no sense.
Stupid.
God forbid you have a sports team in Chicago actually make the playoffs annually. And this city is my issue with Chicago sports fans is it's up there with wrestling fans because they're just delusional to reality. Yeah. They try to act like they're New York sports fans, but they're not. There are smart Chicago sports fans in the city, but there's just people that just are absolutely – I don't know what their IQ rating is. I really don't sometimes because I'll listen to a lot of radio shows and shout out to my mentor Jay Hood. Getting the big morning show now with David Kaplan.
Congratulations
on ESPN 1000. And I love listening to the show, but the radio callers that call us Chicago sports radio stations these days are horrible, snarky. Sometimes I can handle sarcasm. Sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest with you. I'm not really a big fan of people who are snarky just for the sake of being snarky and pessimistic the entire time because they don't know how to really engage with somebody properly. I'm not really a big fan of snarkiness, but and then you have these people that try to act like they know more than the hosts of the shows, and it's so annoying. Hey, let's talk to Ricky from South Shore. Ricky, you're on ESPN 1000. Let me tell you about this Nick Foles character. My grandma could throw a better spiral than him. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of dumb callers on sports talk radio, and it's the same thing in Philly. It's the same exact thing. It just depends.
Yeah.
I just laugh at the people that now, because the Flyers are in the playoffs, like, oh yeah, then they try and like talk about hockey and they have no idea what they're talking about. Or the people that say that we should have kept Nick Foles over Carson Wentz, which is the dumbest thing in the entire world. It was the dumbest argument. It was honestly created by sports talk radio, and I feel like it really hurt Carson himself, which sucks.
Skippy Bayless.
He's the worst.
So it's crazy to think we're 3 weeks out from week 1 of the NFL season.
I know.
Bears are in the middle of their quarterback competition right now. I think they have the right people to make the choices on this decision here, because Matt Nagy was the one that helped develop Patrick Mahomes in the first season of him when he was on the bench with Al Smith. But nobody in the media ever brings that up. It's just Patrick Mahomes magically did this all by himself.
Yeah, right.
He's the greatest quarterback of all time, but he didn't have any help along the way. I just find that ironic. But I heard somebody on the radio like, hey, is Matt Nagy on the hot seat? The dude just won the fucking Coach of the Year 2 years ago. What are you talking about?
The sports fans are so fickle, man. It's the same thing. It's either we're going to win the Super Bowl or fire everybody, and there's no in between.
No, it's stupid. But I think they have the right people to choose, not only for Matt Nagy, but John DeFilippo is the quarterback's coach.
Yep.
And I think he has a good eye more than anybody to pick out who's the right guy.
We work with Nick Foles in Philly.
Yes, so while the whole world wants to count Mitch Trubisky out, I'm going to continue to root for the guy, because I just think it's ridiculous. Ever since the kid got drafted here, I'm saying that he's a kid. Hell, he's my age. What am I talking about? Ever since Mitch got drafted here, people don't want him to fail. So for me, I'm a sports fan that likes to root for underdogs. So I hope Mitch wins this competition and shoves it up everybody's ass this season.
I mean, the franchise has too much invested in him to like where that you shouldn't want him to fail. If you're a true Bears fan and your franchise invested, a high pick and a bunch of money in a young kid, you shouldn't want him to fail. And yeah, he struggled last year, but his rookie season he played pretty well, and you guys went to the playoffs.
And here's the thing: like, everybody keeps throwing Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson in my face. I continue to say this. It's not like high school where you get all butthurt over the fact that a girl chose the girl that you wanted was with another guy. Like, it's so stupid. And in most cases, you don't know how it would be if Patrick or Deshaun Watson is here. And nobody on planet Earth is going to tell me that John fucking Fox was going to develop Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes as quarterbacks. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Oh, he was great in college. Awesome. Tim Tebow was good in college too. Like, people keep hyping up Deshaun Watson for all this stuff that he's good at. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but God, he's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. It's not even close.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, but we'll see. Obviously, players go through ups and downs, and the kid he's still young. Like, he's still developing. I mean, I know you guys have a great defense, and that carried you to the playoffs 2 years ago, but give the kid a break. And, he can't change the fact that you guys didn't draft Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. Just like Don McNabb couldn't change we didn't draft Ricky Williams. It's the same exact thing when the fans booed him when we got drafted. And ended up working out because Ricky Williams was good for a couple of years and decided to go smoke some of the ganja and then returned eventually. So.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how things go with the quarterback position, but defense is still looking good. Glad that we got Robert Quinn off the Cowgirls squad, so let's see how that goes. And then, it should be fun. We start out the season in at Ford Field.
Oh God,
the hellhole of football stadiums. But
I would hate to be a Lions fan. A Lions and a Browns fan is just like, what is your? You've got about zero hope, and you had the best wide receiver of our generation, and still didn't win anything.
Nope. That's
who, by the way, is not talking to the team and hasn't talked to the team since he retired. I saw that story this week because apparently because he retired and they were probably his cap number was $24 million and they were going to cut him, I think. So he retired and they made him pay back some of his bonus money.
Nah, it's crazy.
Screwed up.
That's messed up. All right. So for our first wrestling topic we're getting to this week, fun sports conversation there. I'm glad we did that.
Sports conversation for 34 minutes. I love it.
Yeah. So Renee Young, big rumor, talking point, nothing really confirmed yet by WWE as far as her asking for notice. Her report big out that she's going to be leaving WWE to focus on other projects and she just wants out of the company. I'll start with Matt since he's a guest this week, but I have my other thoughts on this whole situation and kind of the coverage behind it too, which has been kind of odd. But Matt, what's your thoughts on all this? Do you think this is actually going to happen, and what can you see her doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things to unpack here. Renee Young is a tremendously talented broadcaster. My sister's in the industry, and I always tell her, Jordan, like, look at what Renee Young does because she carries herself great. She's a professional. She's an amazing host. I think it's a big loss for WWE. I really, really do. There's no one, that they have talent-wise that can do the same thing she can. Not that they need her to. I mean, I think that Talking Smack might be coming back. Charlie Caruso is great, but she's no Renee Young. She's not. And but at the same time, though, I'm not surprised. Her husband works for AEW, and unfortunately, which I love WWE backstage, but it got canceled. And I think that she was upset about that. And then she got COVID, and, obviously Jon has his own gripes with WWE in his time, and a lot of them are definitely warranted. So I'm not shocked. I think that ESPN a couple years ago apparently was trying to lure her there. So I wouldn't be surprised if she went to go work for an NBC Sports or an ESPN or Fox. I don't think she's going to end up in AEW. I mean, what is she going to do in AEW? She's not going to AEW. She's going back into sports. And my guess is, she would be great on NHL Live, but they have Catherine Tappan and Liam McHugh. So I will guess she'll probably go to ESPN, even though, I know they've cut a lot of talent the last couple of years, and especially, their talent roster. But it's a big loss for WWE, and I'm going to miss seeing her in programming, for sure.
For me, I think the writing was on the wall of her leaving, and nothing really about Jon Moxley in my point of view, because I don't know outside of backstage what else she could have done with WWE. Since 2013, she's literally done everything. Yeah, she was the backstage interviewer. She hosted all the pre-shows and kickoff shows and all that fun stuff. She both for NXT and the main roster shows, the backstage show. She even had her own show on the network. She was on Total Divas. I don't know what else Renee Young could have accomplished in WWE. She was on commentary.
Yeah,
for about a year or so. I've always been a big fan of Renee Young for a lot of reasons, and she's so talented at what she does that I think for her, she deserves a bigger platform than just professional wrestling. I think she could host Sports Center. She could be on the Today Show. She could probably do more than Maria Menounos if she wanted to.
Yeah, she's definitely better.
So I think the sky's the limit always when it comes to Renee Young, just because of the talent she has. And would I miss her on WWE television? Of course, absolutely. But I just the assumptions of why she's leaving. I just, for me personally, when it comes to people leaving organizations, I'd rather hear from them first than having freaking McAlvabitch tell me why she's leaving, and supposedly that WWE didn't call her while she had COVID, and I really
I don't believe that for 1 sec. That's a ridiculous report.
They didn't have a well check on her.
And you know what, Josh? We're going to hear from her? We're going to hear her on the Talk is Jericho podcast.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I said it last week. If you want a job with AEW, you just gotta hop on the Talk of Jericho. I'm coming. Judas in my lungs.
That got me earlier. Josh played that Jim Cornette clip before we started recording. It was so funny.
I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat this week, but
it's fine. I got your back. But I agree with you 100%. I mean, I do think that certainly like her getting COVID and she was contract's a contract, and I guarantee her contract was signed a couple years ago, even when Jon was still in WWE. But who knows? I know he has his gripes. I know that, but in any marriage or relationship, you have to support each other's interests and each other's passions. And I know that like he would not make her leave because he doesn't like the company. It's a great gig, but okay. I think that Renee Young, like you said, has other opportunities elsewhere, and it's more about her advancing her broadcasting career than anything that she doesn't like with WWE.
Here's the question I have for you and everybody watching at home. Moxley has his gripes about WWE, right? He felt like he wasn't able to fully go to what he wanted to do, right? Has anything really changed since he's with AEW?
No.
How about that? We took this whole hook, line, and secret thing that, oh, man, he had this big shoot interview like CM Punk did, and he's going to make this big wave of change. Like, oh, Moxley's going to do what CM Punk should have done years ago, blah, 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 blah. I still see Dean Ambrose on my screen on TNT.
I mean, pretty much, he's just a little bit rawer, a little bit more.
You could curse? That's the big difference.
He still walks through the crowd and from the arena, and I mean, he's the AEW heavyweight champion, and he's very rarely main events the show. And you can say, okay, like it's because the roster's really deep, but I don't know. Like Drew McIntyre's main evented Raw plenty of times, and every WWE champion does.
Yeah, Jon Moxley's the AEW World Champion, but people keep saying that Cody Rhodes is the face of AEW. Tells you everything you need to know.
Yep. So
that's the thing. There's one thing for people having gripes, and then what's reality. Because, as much as people think Ambrose is this next Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't believe that. Like, I saw Seltzer the other day talking about, MJF's the next Rock, and Cody Rhodes the next Triple H, and like Moxley cannot lace Stone Cold's shoelaces. Let's start right there.
And MJF can't lace The Rock's boots. He can't lace his acting career. He can't lace anything The Rock does. His physique. That is the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, God. It's funny how much Seltzer out-tops himself when it comes to stupid takes.
He's always had stupid takes, but they've continued to embarrass them. This last year, ever since AEW started, they've just been continuing to embarrass themselves by the things they say. They're almost like Mark fans. It's where they're supposed to be professional journalists, and it's really journalists. No, I know, but that's what they're supposed. It's supposed to be the Observer newsletter, and it's been around for a long time. But they continue to twist the ratings, and AEW in the 18 to 34 demo beat Raw. Oh, really? Cool. Well, like you said, Josh, the show is TV 14, right? That it's on a completely different day. But you say that, and then you fail to mention the fact that Raw beat LeBron James and the Lakers. Every other sport that night, they got 1.7 million viewers. Now, is that a great rating for Raw? No, it's not. But obviously, we're in a pandemic, and WWE and pro wrestling is so heavy relied on the fans and the atmosphere in the arena. It's different.
Who's watching television like it's the 90s anymore?
It's no one.
Exactly. And anybody could come on here and critique and review shows. That does not make you a journalist. And you can hear in their tone, you can hear in how they conduct themselves in these videos that they post on YouTube. They're not journalists. Hell, I'll tell you guys, I'm not a journalist.
Yeah,
what I am, I'm a professional broadcaster, and I also work in doing stenography and making transcripts. That's what I do for a living. I don't I have nothing to hide. I'm not a journalist. I don't have sources. You know what my sources are? My right and left eye. That's all it is. That's what my sources are. So, I just think they continue to be the definition of what the Young Club always was.
The Young Club.
So
now that we're ranting on people, can I bring something up really quick, wrestling wise? Yeah. So yesterday, Goldberg said in an interview that he has 2 years left on his contract, and his contract runs through 2023. And to see the comments from people on Twitter were so ridiculous. Like, Goldberg is such a major draw. And I think that Jason from NAI tweeted about it, like, he's been world champion in a bunch of different decades, apart. There's no bigger draw other than Brock Lesnar than Goldberg. Like, and I see people on Twitter like, oh, whose title reign is he going to ruin? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, please shut up. Like, for Goldberg to beat The Fiend did make sense because he caught The Fiend off guard. Now, what happened right after that? The Fiend stood up immediately and disappeared and then was going to go face John Cena at WrestleMania. But after that happened, you look at Twitter and you would have thought that, like, the world ended. It's ridiculous. I don't know why Goldberg gets so much flack. The guy's in unbelievable shape. He's a genuinely great guy, especially from my experience, hearing what he's done, and for Jason and Bill and Liam and coming on the show. And he's a good human being, and he does really care about the fans, and that's why he came back. And it's just so stupid that, like, a lot of these marks don't really appreciate him and appreciate the fact that we're even seeing Goldberg wrestle. Like, he doesn't have to, he's not burying someone. If you lose to Goldberg, I mean, did Goldberg bury Brock Lesnar when he beat him in Toronto? No. He just beat another all-time great, and it started an awesome feud.
Right, and we were there for WrestleMania 33, which was way better than the WrestleMania 20 match.
Oh, that match was great.
I don't have any personal beefs with Goldberg. For me, like, was I the biggest mark for him over the years? No, but I didn't hate him or was totally indifferent to him. Like, yeah, okay, he beat The Fiend for the Universal title. Folks, The Fiend does not need a championship. And I'm going to mention that later on when we do our predictions later on. Yeah. The Fiend is not about world championships. Bray Wyatt, the character, does not need a world champion to justify his star ability. Yeah. And also, folks, in 2020, can we stop having Twitter be the end-all, be-all on what's over and what's not? Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, especially those who listen to the show. If you're the biggest wrestling Twitter market in the world, I take a lot what you guys say with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
I just do, because I'm tired of the fickleness. I'm tired of the agendas. Is it too much for me to ask for some nuanced conversations about pro wrestling without having an agenda behind it or just being snarky the entire time? Like, we got this reveal of the Thunderdome coming up tomorrow on Fox, right, for SmackDown.
Yeah,
and everybody's just weighing the shit out of it because God knows everything WWE does is wrong.
Yeah, and then everything the AEW does is right. It's just, I don't understand why people these days and wrestling fans just can't take a step back, look at what you're viewing, pinch yourself, and realize that there's so much content out there. We've got wrestling on every single night of the week, and that's not even counting New Japan. Right. I just don't understand why. And yeah, is WWE perfect? No, their product is not perfect, and we're
no company is perfect.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not one wrestling company that's perfect.
But give them credit for being able to, stage shows and have some creativity with all the Boneyard match and the different little nuances they've done in the Performance Center, and now to go from the PC to the Amway Arena and really, really try and make this a much different thing we've never seen, and people already ready to shit on it. Like, why? Like, I'm so excited for this. It doesn't make any sense.
Folks don't want to enjoy wrestling anymore. They think they're in the boardroom, but they're not.
Well, they're not, and they don't understand the boardroom either. They don't understand the fact that this is a business, a publicly traded business on the stock market, and the fact that your favorite superstar doesn't go over has nothing to do with the stock price, and they have to answer to investors. So I don't really care what anybody has to say about that.
Yeah, well, listen to what Triple H said in his conference call yesterday about the metrics they look at, because somebody had to sneak in an AEW question about ratings. It was Meltzer. Surprise. He asked
Was
about ratings.
Meltzer? I didn't hear about what he said.
So Triple H had his conference call for XC TakeOver 30 yesterday, and he was talking about, people always talking about, the overnight ratings are always this and that. There's much more into what they gauge on the directions they go with a lot of the shows. It's not just what all of us read on websites and social media or shows like this. There's much more to the meets the eye, guys. WWE is not a professional wrestling company. It's not. And I keep saying this every week. You should not want every wrestling show to be presented and booked the same way. It defeats the purpose. Why am I going to listen to R&B if it's going to be a knockoff version of country music? Why am I going to watch AEW if it's just a knockout version of TNA and WCW? Like, what is AEW's identity? I give props to Impact Wrestling because guess what? They're focusing on their own shit. With the exception of Brian Myers. I heard his promo the other day on Impact and just absolutely embarrassing. All these guys that get released. I harbor no ill will towards the company. And then the first promo I get to cut on television. This 70-year-old old man's making the wrong business decision. At some point, for everybody that gets released by WWE, the less sympathy you're going to get from me when you come out and your first promo is about how you're being held back. Because at the end of the day, are there situations where the company does hold performance back? Yes, I'm not naive to that. But also that's to come to a point where you are as a performer. And I think that reliable crutch of, I'm going to bury Vince McMahon so I can be over in my next company is just a dumb formula, in my opinion. It's been overdone for a decade already. Nobody is going to have the impact of knocking down Vince McMahon like CM Punk has. Nobody.
No, absolutely not.
Jon Moxley, not Brody Lee, not Jake Hager, not even Chris Jericho.
Not the Revival.
Chris Jericho's turned from Y2J to Y2K. That's what's happened in 2020. And again, so as we wrap up with this, just put a rim to bone this segment. I'm really happy for Renee Young. She's got the whole world in front of her. She can do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
And she's doing a great job. Hell, she got her cookbook coming out soon. I'm looking forward to that. And just a wonderful person. I hope I get a chance to meet.
Maybe she wants to host Top Chef. Maybe she wants to, do different things. Like, you can't assume that she's leaving because of, ill will or something didn't happen. And I think it's very naive and unprofessional for journalists to try and push that narrative because it fits where they want to go with certain things. So
breaking news.
Like you said, it's unfortunate. And I actually, one of my very, very close friends did meet her and Ambrose and said she was lovely and she was a great lady and really took the time for the fans. So I'm right there with you, Josh, and I'm definitely going to miss her on WWE TV. But, she's got to follow her own passions and, advance her career. And like you said, I don't think there's anything else she could have done except for be an on-screen character, which she already was that with her husband for a little bit. So there's nothing else she could have done. I also do think and believe that she was definitely very pissed about the backstage cancellation. I think that does have a factor in her giving her notice for sure.
Well, she can be upset. She can be upset all she wants. It's Fox's control. They made that decision.
Yeah.
WWE, it's the name on the show is WWE Backstage, but it's a Fox show. Everybody knows that. So I don't know why she's harboring that anger for Backstage being canceled towards WWE when she's still popping up on the kickoff shows and doing those segments with JBL and Booker T. Bet you any money she's on SummerSlam this weekend.
Oh, she definitely will be. I mean, she tweeted let's close this out, which means, she's done after this weekend.
Yeah, so I just think that time point's kind of odd. You're on Fox. They made the decision. This wasn't just Backstage that was canceled. There was a lot of stuff on FS1 that got put away. That doesn't get simple.
And I mean, if we're being, I really enjoy the show, and I know you do.
I love backstage.
I mean, I watch it every single week. The only thing I didn't enjoy was Paige and Booker T and Ember Moon's comments they made, isolated. But I really enjoyed, bringing on different athletes and have them do the promos. And when they would, when Edge came on and talked about, I just liked that. As a wrestling fan and as a fan of WWE for 16 years plus now, when you pull the curtain back, everyone wants to see that, and this is the first time that WWE show really has done that in terms of act like SportsCenter and cover like a business, and I really did enjoy it, and I feel bad, and I'm sure she's a little bit upset. Okay, you could have said something, I believe that the weekly studio show is in Fox's WWE contract, but who knows? And she probably doesn't want to wait around to see if it's going to happen because I'm sure that they're probably like, oh, yeah, we might bring this back monthly. It might be after the pandemic. But, she's got a career and, she's a hot commodity. So why stay if your contract's up? I don't blame her one bit. It's just it's more from my perspective like you where it's just sad that we're not going to see her on TV anymore.
Right. I did get some breaking news while the show's going on today. Okay. Cool when that happens.
I love that.
So AEW signed that they're actually having fans come into Daly's Place. They're selling tickets for 15% capacity at Daly's Place starting next weekend. Tickets are going out on sale, and looks like we'll see if the COVID guy can really prevent coronavirus.
That's crazy.
Coming back.
How is the government of Florida allowing them to have fans, but there's no fans in the Amway Center? I don't understand how that's a thing. But also at the same time, though, there's been fans in Daly's Place. Maybe they're not ticketed fans, but there's been family and friends there. There's been other people that aren't a part of production there. You can hear it in the crowd. There's people all throughout the stadium. And one of my best friends, Agav, said, "Oh, we should go down to Jacksonville and try and get into Daly's Place." But now we can. Got a lot of one of my best friends from kindergarten lives down in Jacksonville, and my sister's boyfriend's family, who we're really close with, they live like 10 minutes away from there. So might do a Hoots podcast and TBD trip to Jacksonville so we can witness AEW live. We'll bring a boombox so Derek can play the AEW segment at the event. Can you imagine?
I'm gonna bring a brown paper bag that they bring at football games just to put over my head during tag team matches. That's crazy. Breaking news, folks. Fans are coming back for Dynamite shows. Wow. All right. Let's get to this week in WWE. As we're here right now on the Hoots podcast, we got Matt Mitchell McMule, as I like to call him, from the TBD Wrestling podcast. Coming up this weekend, we got SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver 30, which is absolutely insane. Crazy. But for this week in WWE, we talk about two things. First off, the Thunderdome, and then we're going to get into Raw for this week. Not bringing out every segment, just overall thoughts on the show and stuff like that. But I wanted to get into the Thunderdome because I see some people that already signed up for the virtual thing. They're actually going to go all out about it. Oh, you signed up too?
I did sign up, yeah. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh man, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, gonna get to see myself on TV from this house. I don't know how it's going to look. It's going to be cool to see.
Are you ready? You guys going to be stuck way for the show starting to have that song in the loop. But
I think there's going to be some pretty funny sights. I just don't know how they're going to control, like, with people. There's just going to has to be people in the back, just like, because people could do different chants and cuss and have signs and AEW merchandise and like.
The NBA has virtual boards that they have for their games. From what the games I've watched, I haven't really noticed that much of a. I think they can handle it. Like if it's nothing really over the top, and I guarantee you, somebody during the show tomorrow will be like, "Oh, WWE gave them scripts of what to chant." And blah, 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 blah. I don't know, nor do I care. Yeah. I said this when the pandemic started. My focus is on the ring. I don't care about beach balls. I don't care about AEW chants. I don't care about CM Punk chants. I just want to watch fucking wrestling. Is that too much to ask?
It's not too much to ask. No, but I think that we kind of touched on this earlier. I am so looking forward to this. I think it's a long time coming. I really think it's going to rejuvenize the product and set the stage for the fall TV season.
I can't wait to see how it looks, man.
It's gonna, based on the video that I sent you before the show, like it's gonna look unbelievable. And I really think this weekend, and I'll save the rest for predictions later, but I really think there's going to be a lot of big time returns, surprises, just because they're finally back in their element. They're in an arena. Yeah, you got the big stage. Even though the fans aren't going to be there, there's going to be crowd noise. The camera angles are going to be different. Like, I just think that if you want to set yourself up, like we said earlier, to have this be negative, that's your own personal prerogative. I know there's people that haven't watched the product for months that are looking forward to this, and that's great. Like, just give it a chance, and I am so looking forward to it. And I just think that they put the effort in. They're obviously going to really try. It's a big creative step for them. They've never done this before, and just give it a shot. Like, why not? Like, you can't set yourself up to be negative. If you did that, then you might as well not even watch it, because you're setting yourself up to think it's going to be bad from the jump.
Right. And I'm just thinking about it. I'm picturizing and visualizing what the Fiend's entrance is going to look like. They said they got lasers and drone cameras, and I'm kind of curious with the visual aspects. I saw Kevin Dunn. We're not wrestling. I saw
the interview with Sports Illustrated. Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, I saw the interview, and he was saying that WWE watches. People watch WWE because it's a spectacle, and
yes,
let's have a point to that to a certain extent, right? WWE's always been about the big pop, it's sizzle. It's never always been about steak. And I think visually, WWE's production has always done a good job with entrances and kind of stage stadiums and stuff like that. But I'm just curious to see how the layout of the fans are going to be around the arena. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. And hey, we still got to hear freaking Tom Phillips on commentary, so hopefully that changes soon. See, I'm fair. I'm fair in balance. I have stuff that I don't like about the show.
You don't like Tom Phillips?
No, he sucks.
I don't think he's
I hate coming on here and saying people suck at their jobs, but it's not good.
I don't mind Tom Phillips at all. I think he does a decent job.
I miss Vic Joseph on
Vic Joseph
play-by-play. Yes.
You know who I don't miss is Jerry the King Lawler.
Nobody does.
I used to, every single time I go to the shows, I used to boo the crap out of him whenever he came out.
By the way, since we're talking about commentaries, check out Corey Graves' Bear With Us podcast with Carmella. Really cool, like, relationship-based podcast. It's been very helpful watching their shows, listening to their podcasts, actually, over the last couple of weeks. So really enjoyed their stuff. You know, we were talking about the fans coming out in AEW and trying to make logic out of that.
Yeah.
Matt, you know where I'm coming from with this. I can't make any logical sense out of anything that comes out of Florida.
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah, nope.
Not one thing.
Hey, man, it's crazy. Like, the state is just so different, whether it's like the Panhandle or Jax or Orlando or Central, and then you go to Miami and you feel like you're in a completely different country. It's crazy the difference of, you know, people, opinions, political affiliations, like, and then Key West is in Florida too. It's also different. It's almost as like up and down as Michigan, but it's even worse.
Yeah. It doesn't get as bad as over here with guns coming over from Indiana, but the city and the state does nothing about it. But it's just a bad sight here in Chicago. It's just unfortunate when I have to put on news networks and we're just the crash test dummies in the city people can poke fun at. But it's what it is.
Yeah.
I'll find my way to move on. I'm ripping Florida, but I want to move down there too, which is the funny thing.
I might be doing the same thing.
Yeah, we should get like our own like townhouse or something or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
We could be roommates. I don't care.
Oh hell yeah! I'd love to be roommates with you, dude. That'd be so much fun. We would just watch wrestling all the time and sports. Yeah. That'd be perfect.
Get some sports and enjoy all the fun stuff, man.
I'm the kind of guy that like I need to be at the beach, like by the water. I don't know. I've always been around. I hate leaving the beach every single time I do. I know you can say, oh yeah, everybody does, but no, I literally feel better when I'm by the water whether it's down the shore or in Florida or in Key West. Like I love it.
Just as long as I'm not fishing, then I'm good by water. I had a story that I was in Ohio one summer in 2011. This is right before Puck did the whole pipe bomb promo.
Oh, really?
I went to freaking Cleveland of all places for vacation with my aunt and Uncle Jeremy, right? And we were out in the middle of Lake Erie fishing. I was throwing up so much in the middle of Lake Erie that I started. I didn't shit on myself. I want to make that clear. But I had the most embarrassing moment in my life. I'm in the middle of Lake Erie. I'm throwing up and I'm blowing ass at this stage. It was just brutal. Me and seawater and any type of fishing environment is a big no-no. I just feel nauseous and it's just a bad sight.
I know it really, really affects people. Like I actually, when we were down in Florida for the first time, we went like deep sea fishing. We went like maybe 15, 20 miles out and I was fine. But like my dad and Mr. No had to take like the medicine. And I like texted my Nana. I'm like, hey Nana, I didn't take any medicine. I was completely fine. Like I'm used to being on boats but I will say though, like even a couple days later, and this is the same if like you go on a cruise, like you still feel like you're rocking a little bit at times.
Yeah. Really quick, what was your thoughts on Raw? What stood out to you? What you liked or disliked for the show this week?
So what I liked, I like how WWE is presenting Shayna Baszler. I love it. I actually think she should be the one to beat Sasha. I would prefer that. I love how they have Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke on Raw now. I wouldn't be shocked to see them beat Sasha and Bayley at Payback. Who knows? I love the Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler story. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Continue to like the Hurt Business. And I do think that it's really funny that, like I said before we started, Retribution goes in the production truck and they like held that one guy at gunpoint and then they weren't on the rest of the show. So
I found a member of Retribution last night on NXT.
Really? Which one?
The girl that fought Dakota Kai last night. Her name's Jessie Command. If you watch the match, you see the black and purple hair and violet streaks. It's the one girl that I remember. She was in the ring and she was staring down Big E and John Morrison last week on SmackDown. It's Jessie Command. That's one of them. I want to give props to Bully Ray because he had this really cool concept for what Retribution could be. Like, obviously, we haven't heard promos. We don't know who's behind the group. I keep saying Shane Meek Mahan because I'm keeping hope that the hacker is actually the guy behind this. But
that would be really good long-term storytelling.
And it may happen. You never know.
Yeah.
But Bully said that the concept of Retribution could be 5 letters. Creative has nothing for you. CHNFY. That's the concept. All these people that are on TV or people that are perceived they're held back wherever, or they don't have the greatest win loss records, like a Shorty G. Or I love what MVP's doing. He's a man, obviously, but him accusing Apollo for being behind Retribution was great.
Yeah, that's tough. He's like, you gotta do all these lights here. Like, it's so funny. I personally think the two names to me that stand out, and I've said this all along, I don't think that we're gonna see the actual members of Retribution until they're unmasked. I think the people that are doing this stuff now are just doing it like for the production, and then once they get unmasked, we'll see who it actually is. Two names to me that stand out, Tommaso Ciampa and Aleister Black are two that I think could be a part of the faction.
Watch out for Sheamus.
Sheamus would be cool too.
Yes. It'd been kind of cool if Christian was still wrestling, like if he was in a group like that just for the hell of it. Hey, I want one more match, but creative has nothing for me. I just want that one more match. So here's the stuff that stood out for me for Raw. I really enjoyed what's going on with MVP. He's just been fantastic. I'm a big mark for the Hurt Business.
Oh yeah.
Something's got to give with the 24/7 title sooner or later. I'm at the point right now. I love R-Truth and I enjoy what he does. I think his game show on the network is hilarious. For me, I'm kind of curious. Like either him or Cedric Alexander are going to be joining the Hurt Business sooner or later. Yeah. So I got to see which one that's going to be. So I'm kind of curious, and I want to let that play out and see where that goes. But something's got to give it the 24/7 title. I don't think it's going to be around for much longer. So we'll see.
It was just used to kind of pump up programming, and it was fun while it lasted. But I mean, the only person that really makes it funny and entertaining is R-Truth, because he's like a 40-time 24/7 champion, 24/7, 365, I-95.
I watch reruns of I watch reruns of Saved by the Bell. I want to give Raw props for this. Trying to format a 3-hour show is probably an undertaking of all undertakings, because God knows how you actually want to do it the right way. What segments, what feuds get more time than others, blah, 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 blah. But I think conceptually, Raw Underground is a great thing for the Raw show, because you got people coming home from work, they're stressed out, they're burnt out. So in the break between a promo, a big serious promo segment or match, you just see somebody get their ass whipped.
Yeah.
You may never have a title, you may never have storylines behind it, but for how long this Raw Underground thing is going to go, I think it's a good thing for the 3-hour show.
Yeah, it's a creative concept, and I said on TBD, I feel like it could introduce and put over a talent that maybe they're going to be on NXT TV, or they're still training. It's going to put eyes on new talent, and I think that's very valuable.
Yeah, it is valuable, and if Raw Underground spins to Shane McMahon being behind Retribution, I want Bruce Pritchard to call me on speed dial, because I get on top of his shit now. Been calling this out since freaking May.
Now, I think the Retribution thing is kind of a play off of the protests and stuff. That's as soon as it came out, I was like, oh, well, they're trying to play off that.
I saw
a little bit.
I saw somebody say yesterday that Robert Stone is ripping off Tony Khan.
That's a really good one.
Getting ran over by the truck by Shotzi Blackheart symbolism, at DX running over WCW. Oh man, I had a couple matches written down. Even though the premise of it was okay, Debbie Burnett, very nice waterfall. It's okay. I enjoyed the match with Garza and Ivar. Man, Angel Garza is going to be a big time player down the road. I thought that was a good match. We had Seth Rollins and Dominic had their final segment before their match coming up at SummerSlam. We'll make predictions for that later on, but I enjoyed that segment. It's very interesting thing about this full circle. 15 years later, Dominic's literally having his first wrestling match.
I can't believe it, man. Look, when this started, I just could not get that out of my head. Dominic, really? Dominic! I can't get it out of my head. That was such a
I'm your daddy!
I'm your papi! But he has done a really great job. He has. I know he's been training. I heard that Rey Mysterio just resigned, so Dominic was a big part of that. But he's a big guy, and I'm looking forward to it. I think that it's an interesting match, but who else would you want Rollins to work with at SummerSlam? I'd rather him work with Dominic than Rey Mysterio. That's just me.
Seth, I had to say this, Seth Rollins. I don't know if it was intentional that he was talking so fast during his part in the backstage area, but for those who are wondering, when I transcribe the show, I'm actually typing down the dialogue. This dude was talking so fast during his part of that segment. I was like, slow down, man. I'm trying to get your shit over, pal. But Seth Rollins has been killing it on promos too.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. I agree with you what you said about Shayna Baszler. The match, tag team wise, I thought was pretty good as well. Little odd scenario there with the referee over there where you have Nia brawling with Shayna Baszler, but the match is not a disqualification.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was the first thing. Like, it didn't bother me that Shayna came back in the match. She was never saying, "Oh, Shayna Baszler is eliminated or disqualified for the match." The match should just ended if Nia Jax was attacking because that's a legal competitor in the match. It's a tag team match is not a hardcore match. It's not like the triple threat rules where you can do whatever you want. You know, it's a different environment. So I thought that was a little odd, but you know, you had another Bayley Sasha promo. They're saying that they're trying to play it off like they're like really nervous and they're like, we're holding all the gold. And like Sasha has like the biggest jawline when she laughs.
Yes, she does. Well, I do too, so I can.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And then finally we had Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. I was enjoying Drew McIntyre's promo in the beginning before we had all the Retribution shenanigans. I was kind of hoping the segment would end with Retribution attacking Kevin Dunn, but that would have made that would have made the baby face, so that would have been a bad decision there.
Agreed.
I'm really excited for Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. It's my favorite thing on Raw right now, besides Seth Rollins, and you know, Shawn Michaels is gonna be Shawn Michaels. Him no selling the punt and the RKO probably was not the best look.
No, that was terrible. And also, like, it was kind of, I know a lot of people said this on Twitter, and like everybody gets old, but like when Shawn Michaels' hat came off, it was like pretty shocking for some people to see like how much hair he's lost. I like him with his hat and his beard. He looks good. And also, I want to make a quick comment as well. Like, I had to do a double take when I saw Demi Burnett on my TV because I watched The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and I watched her season, and she's crazy. She's a great time. She's a great character, really, really funny. But I was like, wait, is that Demi from The Bachelor? What? Like, why is she on Raw? Like, is she signed with the company? Like, I don't know. I guess she is.
All right. So overall, I thought Raw was okay. Wasn't a show that I was going crazy over, but I thought for the most part, going into SummerSlam, I thought the show, like as far as like building and getting invested for views, I think they did a good job with that. I feel like the more bigger go home feel is going to come with Thunderdome, obviously tomorrow night. So we'll see what goes down there. Obviously, we got AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy for the IC title. I thought it was a good decision to put it on there so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle for SummerSlam. There's already 8 matches announced, and really, really quick things from SmackDown last week. Love seeing Joseph Park on the show. Big pop there. I thought that was great.
That was really cool.
And Mandy Rose's promo was really good on SmackDown as well. But we'll get into those predictions later on. NXT, really quick, before we get to our the most requested segment in all of podcasting.
Oh, God.
NXT last night started off with Johnny Gargano, Rich Holland match. Very physical match. Also nasty landing for Johnny Gargano in a power slam maneuver by Rich Holland. Gargano lured him into a super kick, and Johnny Gargano found a way to beat Holland with the one final beat. Really solid match start of this show. Dakota Kai made quick work of the girl that I mentioned from Retribution, Jessie Kamea, and Dakota Kai attacked Io Shirai with Raquel Gonzalez on her side. So I'm looking forward to that match. That's going to be a good match at TakeOver on Saturday. Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. I'm looking forward to that. Dakota, I mentioned this with Brother Carter last week. I think I'd be more into Bayley's heel character if she tapped it more into what Dakota Kai's doing as a heel. Like she has more of the aggressive side, while Bailey relies on the ding dong. Like sometimes, like
Bailey's trying to be annoying, though. I think it's a little bit different.
It's a little different, but her wrestling style doesn't match with her annoying side. Like it's a little different. But I'll give Bailey this. I do like when she like pokes fun at Michael Cole, and so I think that's funny. So I'm really looking forward to the NXT Women's Division. Has always been good over the years.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's probably the best and deepest division in the world right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. NXT can find a way to have long women's matches on Wednesday nights, but we can't on TNT. But
we had a tag team cup, which I don't know what that even means. If they're going to have like a cup that's going to be a thing for a while, but like none of the matches have been on TV. Like I don't like how is that? Like why is that a thing then? If it's such a big deal, it should be on TV. And what you're telling me is that you're doing it to do it. And then you're putting it on YouTube, which doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Pat McAfee and Anna Cole had a face-to-face confrontation. I want to give a big round of applause for Pat McAfee.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
He did a wonderful job with his promo last night. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. He said in a line, he's like, you guys better tread lightly because I could make this be my 8th profession where I made $1 million. And I think him and Anna Cole are going to surprise some people. I really do.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee's been a super fan of professional wrestling, and these are one of the crossover performers that I think can work well in this element. And we're going to see how great of a wrestler Anna Cole is, because I think Anna Cole can have a good match with a broomstick. He could get it out of Pat McAfee.
Oh, 100%.
Excited to see how this goes.
And we're doing predictions for TakeOver as well, correct? Okay.
Yes, we'll do those at the end. But I just really enjoyed that segment. And Matt Cole's like, at TakeOver, I'm going to make you my bitch. So, that was some good stuff there. And then I want to give props to NXT for this. They had a 6-man tag team match last night, right? It was Legado del Fantasma. By the way, Santo Escobar, star. Just throwing it out there.
I like that faction.
I want to give props. I don't know the name of the referee, but Tony's going to appreciate this. I appreciate the fact that a referee was respected during the 6-man tag team match. First Scott accidentally had a blind tag scenario with Tyler Breeze, and he hit his finisher on Escobar, but he goes in the cover, the referee's like, you're not the legal competitor. You're not the legal competitor. I was like, thank you. Let's have some freaking respect for the referees, because the referees are the glue of wrestling matches. At least the process of wrestling matches. You guys can check out my episode with Tony where he explained why they're the essential of a wrestling match. But shout out to referee Tony. He's the freaking man. So the last two things that really stood out for me from NXT was the video package for Killer Cross and Keith Lee. I'm really excited for that match. Matt, guys, go check out that video package that they put on the WWE YouTube channel. It's fucking dope. And then we got to talk about something that everybody's talking about last night, and we got a question from King HR about it, where we're going to talk about the Velveteen Dream. So I figured it's now more than ever to talk about this, and I'll start off with this. Like, for me, I'm in the position where I can't fully come on here and just completely bury Velveteen Dream until he gets suspended by WWE. I have to see from the company to harp down on them to show that something did happen. And this sucks for me because I know Patrick Clark a little bit. I had a chance to interview a couple of times when I was in my old radio show. I've had conversations with him over the years. I like Patrick Clark as a person. And one thing that I take very seriously is understand that one ridiculous offense doesn't trump another one. I think racial issues is just as worse as pedophile, domestic violence, wherever the situation. I don't think there's one that's worse than the other. Murder, any of that, they're all equally bad in my eyes. So I take a lot of that I'm seeing right now is very seriously. And I pray to God that this is not the real thing. I really do. There's been screenshots. There's been people saying that this is his real voice. I mentioned it earlier that I take a lot of things that I see on Twitter with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm not going to come on here and defend the Velveteen Dream because I don't have all the evidence. So I'm in a rough position where I can't come on here and fully say he's a schmuck, he's the worst thing ever, blah 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 blah. I don't have that full concrete evidence from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And if there is any evidence that's actually going on that this is the real deal 100%, then he should not be on this TV anymore. He should have been fired.
Yeah.
And I saw Triple H's comments on CBS where he said that the investigation went on. And this is a guy that has 3 daughters at home.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm really hoping that there's nothing that meets the eye of this situation because that's not a good look for Patrick Clark, and it's not a good look for the WWE either. I want to make that very clear. I'm not picking sides here. I'm not picking the side of the Velveteen Dream. People are like, "Oh my God, they're giving him a push. He's a pedophile. He's all this stuff." Okay, if the evidence you've seen on websites that's been accusers that coming out, if that's what you want to believe, cool. That's on you. I don't think everybody has to feel the same way on the situation that they don't know 100% of what the situation is. Why isn't Matt Riddle fired right now?
Exactly.
Why is it okay for Sammy Guevara to make jokes about rape, but we just pass it over because he's gonna have this big old blood feud with Matt Hardy because that's okay.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna come on here and pick sides on what's right and what's wrong with the situation. Patrick Clark better hope that this stuff is not true.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Josh. I feel like
I draw a line, but I need actual evidence before I'm going to come on here.
Exactly. If there was any validity to the claims, and I'm not saying they're not valid and it didn't happen, I just think that there has to be an investigation, obviously. But WWE has too much to lose. I said this before we started recording. Like, each WWE character is its own brand, and you can't do anything to hurt your brand. And Velveteen Dream and kind of his character would fit in there. So if they invest, I just don't think that if there's any sort of inkling that this was true, he would have just been fired because there's too much to lose, and that's just it.
Yeah, we heard accusations about Lars Sullivan too, and people failed to mention in the conference call yesterday. Somebody asked, "Hey, I think Nick Hausman." Nick Hausman asked about update on Lars Sullivan, and you could tell the difference as far as what he wanted to talk about with Velveteen Dream and what he wanted to talk about Lars Sullivan. He's like, "Oh, this is news to me. I have nothing on Lars Sullivan." Think about that. I get it. I get it. People have their assumptions. People have skepticism over the years of WWE and how they handle business. I get all sides of the argument. I do. And I'm coming on here just speaking for myself. I'm not trying to do anything but to speak from my own point of view. I can't come on here and fully bury this guy until something goes down to the point of WWE suspending him.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
Because that's what it is. And, peer pressure from Twitter is one thing, but actual evidence of something happening is another thing. And that's what
it's two different things.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not discrediting anybody that's saying this is real. I want to make that clear as well. I'm not going to discredit anybody who is fully upset. And I understand anger. I do. Because that stuff is it's not acceptable. I don't make excuses for rape. I think it's stupid that AEW is still pushing Sammy Guevara the way they are. Before you know, Excalibur and his racist comments is going to be back on television soon.
Yep.
Like, you can't just pick one side of the ledger of what's okay with you with certain performances and what's okay with other performances because they're in a different company. I think that's embarrassing.
It is.
I really hope this is not the real thing, but
I'm right there with you, Josh, 100%.
So That was NXT. Velveteen Dream beat the Finn Balor in the main event thanks to interference from Timothy Thatcher. It was announced this morning that Finn Balor will be fighting Timothy Thatcher this Saturday at NXT TakeOver 30. So that's going to be a wonderful match. Yes.
I don't know about that, man. I kind of wish that Balor would have been in that match. I would like to see Balor win that title at some point so he can, have the other title in NXT. That's what I thought they might do, but.
Well, I thought Balor lost because I think that's going to be Adam Cole's next feud.
True.
So, but yeah, Balor and Thatcher, you want a hard hitting match? Let's have these guys.
That's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So, I wasn't going to run away from this Velveteen comment. That's not what we do here. We do talk about real life situations here. And it's a serious thing that should be discussed, and I get, like I said earlier, I hope this is not the real thing. I just can't come out here and fully trash a guy with just screenshots from social media. I've had situations of my own when it comes to screenshots and validity of people and how they handle situations. And again, I'll throw it. Why hasn't Matt Riddle been fired? He had sexual accusations as well. So it's a lose-lose situation. I want to make this clear. There's nothing positive about it. There's something to defend here.
Yeah.
I want some actual facts and seeing what WWE does about the situation instead of assuming and pushing for somebody to be fired. I'm just not going to do that. So, with that said, let's have some fun.
Yeah. All right.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment. What the hell is wrong with AEW? 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting this loaded up here on my iTunes. Here we go.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
Brought to you by the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
And today, Gritty.
And the Seattle Horn.
Which I don't think that they played it today. I didn't notice it at all.
I love that horn. That's
and
we were talking about it before we recorded the show today. It's hilarious that they
down in Seattle City, there's like a little at noon, like a kind of like to play for the whole town. It sounds really hokey, but it's unique. And last time I was on the show with Josh and Derek, I was recording outside, and it just happened, and to see their face, they're like, "What was that? What was that about?"
Yeah, it's crazy. What the hell is wrong with AEW? Well, we got a show on Saturday night, which is being touted as the greatest Saturday wrestling show of all time.
Get out of here.
I just want to run down the lineup here and just get your hot takes and thoughts on this extravaganza we're going to see at Daly's Place on Saturday. Starting off, we have the Elite against 3 jobbers from the Dark Order. We have John Silver and Alex Reynolds with their 2-8 record, and Alan, hear this out, 5 Angels.
Oh my
Alan
God.
Angels is the other guy that looks exactly like Stu Grayson, but it's shorter. So
that match sounds terrible. Next.
Yeah, thank you. Next one, we have an 8-man tag team match.
Only 8? Only 8. Wow.
We're making progress. Butcher and the Blade. I wonder where the candlestick maker's at. And Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers, they'll be taking on I think they're taking on Jurassic Express and SCU.
Okay.
Tag team match. I'm sure that's to be some calamity. Referees always get buried in these.
Okay, I like both teams. Okay.
I'm a big fan of Butcher and the Blade. That tag team. I wish Phoenix and Pentagon were solo wrestlers because that's where their strengths are at. Watch their stuff, Lucha Underground, and they'll tell you everything.
I love the Lucha Bros, man. They're awesome.
And just hope we don't have enough. Hopefully, it's not overkill with stunted growth running around in the match like last week. By the way, I think you're wearing the same bucket hat you wore on Dynamite last week.
Really?
Yeah, you wore a bucket hat last week.
Gotta wear the bucket hat. I'm down the beach, man.
You know how you despise Alberto Del Rio? That's
Yeah.
how much I despise stunted growth. Well, they got Jake Hager's not wrestling on this program. Let's just get that out of the way. There was other matches announced. I saw that Darby Allin's going to be having a match. They haven't announced who. You saw the spoilers, so maybe you know.
I did see the spoilers, but it was focused on a few of the main things that might happen.
Yeah. I saw that FTR is taking on Private Party. That's a big match that's taking place on Saturday. And then the main event. Oh, boy. Cody Rhodes, a.k.a. the American sociopath, taking on
the American narcissist.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes taking on Brody Lee for the TNT Championship, or as Jim Cornette would like to call him, Boring Brody, which is kind of harsh.
Yeah.
Just like the same question I asked earlier about Jon Moxley. Have you noticed anything different since Luke Harper has been in AEW?
Nope. Except for he's in a crazy gang. That's about it. Pretty much.
And cuts promos that go absolutely nowhere.
Yep.
Anybody tell me that AEW is going to out-succeed TakeOver is just lying to yours?
No, they're playing like revisionist history. Like, okay, like if you actually watch, there hasn't been one bad NXT TakeOver, and that's before AEW was even a thing. If you really think this show's gonna be better than TakeOver 30, you're, like you said, you're kidding yourself. I mean, I originally, because we were talking on the phone last week,
right,
for a while, I originally had thought that they're doing this to go up against TakeOver, which, I mean, that's just crazy. Yeah. It's not going to happen. But it's because of the NBA. Yeah. I just, again, seems like a couple nice matches, but it's nothing I haven't seen before. I'm sure I've seen Stardust. I've definitely seen Stardust and Luke Harper face off for the IC title. I think they might have been in that ladder match at some point. Yeah. So I've seen that before, and it's just, yeah, will it be a nice match? Sure. But does it do anything for their product? Does it advance any story moving into All Out? Probably not.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at this card for Saturday, and nothing is must see to me. Like, and we found out if MJF's cutting another promo, because I like to watch that. I know you have your feelings on MJF, but like
he cuts a nice promo. I mean, I can't say he doesn't. He does.
And here's the thing: you're having your show after the NBA playoffs. I think you want to have something with your world champion Jon Moxley, but we'll just probably get another random backstage interview because that's what Jon Moxley does these days. To wrap up this,
we're not being. You know what, Josh? This part of the segment has not been that harsh, and we also touched on it earlier. But I just think, again, like, I hope, considering what I read, I just hope that moving forward, AEW commits their women's division. That's honestly my biggest gripe, and that's the reason why I just don't take it necessarily seriously, because I can't, in 2020, and me being such a big women's wrestling fan, I mean, you guys don't know, I had a women's wrestling show on the NAI Network for a little bit with Chip and Damien, just all about women's wrestling, and it's actually my favorite part of the business, period. My favorite performer is a women's wrestler. So, like, I can't take it seriously until they invest. And I understand that there's talented people there. Like Tony said, there's a lot of talented people there. It's all about placement. Whenever they announce a Dynamite show, have they ever been like, okay, so she is going to face? No, it's never announced. And if it is announced, the match is like 5 minutes long. It's unfortunate. I think there is some promise with Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose. I like that pairing. I'm not a fan of Britt Baker at all, and I think she's ripping off the role models thing, which pisses me off a lot. But I just want to see AEW invest more time and actually care about their women's division. And I think it's kind of laughable for a company in 2020 that's supposed to be this new age. We're different than WWE, and we don't have a legitimate women's division. Like when the company started, go sign Deonna Purrazzo, go sign Tessa, go sign Mercedes Martinez, but they didn't do that. And I understand that some of their draws are, a lot of their big draws are, Cody and the Bucks and Kenny Omega, but that, like, you control that and you control the placement. And that's the most frustrating part, especially considering that Brandy Rose has a major say in what they do and is one of their top branding officers, I believe. And obviously works with Cody, hand in hand there. So I know that you said this too, and a lot of Twitter said this, but that's my biggest gripe with AEW. It's just the women's division. It's just ridiculous. It's unwatchable. I can't watch it. It's night and day with WWE and NXT. We take any brand.
Right. I'm sure there's going to be some good action, and there'll be some good matches on Dynamite this week. But is there anything that's groundbreaking or earth-shattering about their product right now? No. And that's just my thoughts on it. But I want to play this. This is brought to you by the Jim Cornette drive-thru show. Here we go. This is Jim Cornette's take on the song Judas.
Oh, God.
As I was saying, a popular topic has been Chris Jericho. A lot of people have been sending in notes about Chris Jericho. I'm going to read a couple of them here. And get.
Wait a minute. You mean Chris Jericho-vid? You mean I'm becoming infected with the virus in my bloodstream. Judas in my lungs.
That's right.
COVID God.
Well, a lot of people have been wondering about the COVID.
That's so bad.
On that note, this has been What the Hell is wrong with AEW? Let's play the music.
I gotta get gritty for this.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Grady's going to be a great visual for the video version of this podcast.
Grady's got to make an appearance, man.
Yeah. All right, Matt, we're about to wrap these up here in a couple of minutes, but we got to make some predictions. Yes.
Glorious.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's start it off here. Pre-show, triple threat match, NXT TakeOver right here. NXT TakeOver 30. This show will be at Full Sail University, as the first NXT TakeOver was back in 2014. Triple threat match, Breezango against Legado del Fantasma against one of my favorite tag teams, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. These two guys is beating the shit out of people.
They're awesome.
Fun. This is a triple threat match to determine the number one contenders to the NXT tag team titles. Long-winded there with these freaking stipulations of matches, but triple threat match, who you got in this one?
I got Breezango. I really think that their whole thing in NXT has been rejuvenated when they came back. They're two guys that are extremely talented, charismatic, and I think that there's a lot of good teams in the NXT tag team division, but I think that they need a solid team to hold those titles and kind of change, because the aspect of it, we've obviously seen, UAE hold them and Imperium, but I don't know. You need a little bit more star power to draw eyes to that division. So I'll go with Breezango to win the title soon too.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Okay.
To win this match. Just out there picks, especially if this was on the main show. I'll probably go with Legado del Fantasma, but with it being the kickoff show match, I'll go with Lorcan and Burch. By the way, I love Imperium. They're fantastic. Love the presentation. Just old school. Remember, Matt, always remember, no matter what it is, pomp and circumstances, I know you love all that stuff in the glitz and glamour. Always remember, the mat is sacred, pal. Remember,
yes.
The mat is sacred.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of mat-based wrestlers, Finn Balor against Timothy Thatcher. Who you got in this one?
They've invested a lot in Thatcher recently. I'm gonna go with Thatcher.
I'm gonna go with Finn Balor in this one.
It is NXT TakeOver 30 though, so I'm changing. I'll go Balor too.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Mauro Ronaldo mentioned this on NXT last night that Finn Balor has like a big old NXT TakeOver winning streak that's going on right now. So maybe Thatcher's going to snap it. You never know.
Yeah,
I am looking forward to that match. That should be a fun one to jot down. We have Dakota Kai against Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Folks are wondering, either you have the ladder match go first or you have this match go first. Either way, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm going with Io Shirai to retain here, but this should be a fun match to watch. Who you got, Io or Dakota?
Back and forth about this. I really enjoy both performers. I've liked Dakota Kai since I first saw him in the Mae Young Classic, and Io Shirai is arguably the best women's wrestler in the world right now. But I think that we just saw Io Shirai win that title, and I'd like to see her hold it for a little longer, so I'll go with Io Shirai as well.
Yeah. By the way, I thought it was great to hear Metallica have another theme song on TakeOver. I thought that was...
Oh, of course.
Man, Triple H.
Only more fitting would have been, that's the tip of my tongue, would have been King of Kings. It would have been that one.
Yeah.
Would have Motorhead. Yeah. That would have been a little more fitting, but Metallica is still very fitting for TakeOver.
Very nice. Ladder match. This may go 30, 40 minutes. You never know. But Bronson Reed, the Velveteen Dream, Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, and Cameron Grimes. We're going to the moon. No, we're not going to the moon.
I hate cowboy wrestling characters when there's no difference in between the two.
You should have saw him on the bump yesterday. It's just absolutely hilarious. He is over the top, but I get what you're saying. I'm going with Damian Priest to become the new NXT North American champion. This dude has it. Anything you want to describe what it is, this dude has. And I'm a big fan of his. I wouldn't be surprised if Bronson Reed won the match either. He's been gaining a lot of momentum. Or you could go the heel route with Johnny Gargano. He would be the first ever 2-time NXT North American champion. But nonetheless, I'm going with Damian Priest to win this one. This should be a fun match. And I'm sure Cameron Grimes going to take some nasty, nasty bumps.
Oh, God, yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be great. Lots of cool spots. I'm right there with you, Josh. I think that Bronson Reed, obviously, it's a very, very nice story. And I think that NXT does so well as character development. You know, I learned more about Bronson Reed in a 30-second video package than I ever would in any other setting. And, you know, Bronson Reed, Shotzi Blackheart, like it does so much for the characters. Sorry, the phone is ringing right now, but the phone is ringing, and I think it's Papa H. Anyway, I'm going to go with Damian Priest.
Mm-hmm. You going with Damian Priest too, right?
Yeah, Damian Priest. I think that, like you said, he has it. I didn't really understand the character at first. It took me some time to really get it, but I'm going Damian Priest.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun match to watch for sure. Next one on the list, Adam Cole, Pat McAfee. Folks, you're going to be surprised here with my pick here.
What do you, can I go first?
Yes.
I'm going to pick the Undisputed Era to turn on Adam Cole, and I'm picking Pat McAfee to pin Adam Cole at TakeOver 30. I think a lot of people are going to pick Adam Cole. I think the match is going to be awesome. And look, if Adam Cole gets pinned, can we not have Twitter be like, oh, it really buries him? It doesn't bury him. It's a joke match. It's pro wrestling, guys. Like, come on, like flipping, we got Ken Shamrock. What was his name in WCW that was champion? David Arquette was freaking champion in WCW. Like, this is pro wrestling. Snooki had a match at WrestleMania. But I think in this situation, this is the perfect crossover. Pat McAfee has gained so much steam with his radio show, his YouTube channel. He's just I really enjoy his perspective on sports almost more than anyone in the industry right now. So it's just the demographic, and the listeners and the followers of Pat McAfee are the same general demographic that watches NXT. So this is a really smart thing that Triple H did. I think the feud was built great. You know, Adam Cole comes on his show, cusses him out. They make up. Pat McAfee comes to NXT, and then he calls him a little bitch. And his drop kick was legit. And then it was fun. It was really funny when Triple H like pushed him a couple times and Shawn Michaels got involved. Like I have really enjoyed this feud, but I think I gotta go with Pat McAfee, man. I really, really do. And it would be a shocking moment. And also one thing before you go, I heard that it's the 3-year anniversary of the Undisputed Era was just this week. So they've been a thing for 3 years, and I do think that Adam Cole is going to be moved to Raw and SmackDown very soon. There's not a lot left for him in NXT to do. So I'll go with Pat McAfee and the turn.
I got two things here for you. One, I agree with you. Pat McAfee will beat Adam Cole. And secondly, guarantee you any money that Brian Alvarez says that Adam Cole should request his release to go to AEW.
Oh, yeah.
Loses.
Oh, yeah. He is okay. I think that Agab texted me this. He's like, I think it was him. He's, Adam Cole's like going to be in AEW. No, he's not. They're not going to let Adam Cole go. Adam Cole's too talented. No. He hasn't even been on Raw and SmackDown yet. He's going to be a focal point of and a major star in WWE for a long time. He ain't going to AEW anytime soon. They're not going to let him. They didn't want Luke Harper to go to AEW. They're not going to let Adam Cole go to AEW.
No. And for what? To be second fill like everybody else that comes from the WWE?
Yeah. And I guarantee if Adam Cole goes to AEW, he'll get the Kenny Omega treatment, which is I'm a major star, but I'm not in the main event.
And I'm stuck in the tag teams.
But like you say, Josh, no shot.
No shot. Keith Lee, Karrion Kross main event. Can't wait to see what this entrance looks like. I love Karrion Kross. Man, this is really tough. These are one of the matches where it's like, I don't care who actually wins this match. I'm just looking forward to see what happens. Winner-wise, I can see Keith Lee retaining and have like an angle after the match to continue the feud, or a no contest at the end. So that's my way of thinking about it. What about you?
I agree with you there. It's not that I don't really care who wins. I mean, I love both performers, but I'm going to just kind of go back to what I said about Adam Cole. I think Keith Lee's coming up to Raw or SmackDown really soon. I think that it's been the summer and the year of Keith Lee. He had that great moment with Roman Reigns and impressed a lot of people, fans and people in the company. And then he had the awesome showing at the Rumble. Keith Lee is actually one of my early picks to win the Rumble. So I'm going to go with Karrion Kross because of that. And also because I think that Karrion Kross's character is one where I don't want to see him get beat for a very, very long time because that is his shtick. I will be a little bit disappointed if Keith Lee pins Karrion Kross. I'm not going to go on Twitter and freak out about it, but I just feel that the way the character is presented, he should not be pinned. Maybe he could maybe pass out, but not tap out and not get pinned. I could also see Scarlett getting involved and helping him win as well. But I think it's time to give the title to Karrion Kross. Maybe Keith Lee gets a rematch, a takeover in November. I assume that's going to happen in November. And then Keith Lee goes up as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure this may be a debatable topic right here, but I think Karrion Kross has had more of an impact on NXT than Jon Moxley has in AEW.
Oh, God, yes. That and also, like, if you look at the three main events of these major shows, Keith Lee and Karrion Kross argue Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, or The Fiend and Braun Strowman, and then flipping MJF and Jon Moxley. There's no comparison, and I'm way more interested in all three of those matches than I am in MJF and Jon Moxley. Not that it's not going to be a good match. I think the president thing is unique. MJF does cut great promos, but for me as a fan, I'm like, it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't need to watch MJF. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch him wrestle a match. I'm promo wise, I'll watch a promo, but I'm just at the whole thing. Like, it doesn't, for me as a fan, like, I want to be invested and give me a reason to watch every single thing you do. And I don't have that for MJF. And that's just me.
Brett Carter is gonna be downtrodden with that, but
Oh, you remember when I came on the show last time and I was in the middle of my rant and he was in the background like, what?
All right, we're gonna speed through these SummerSlam matches. There's 8 announced so far. I'm pretty sure you get one more on the kickoff show. So either 8 to 10 match show at the Amway Center. The tagline, "You'll never see it coming." McIntyre, obviously, or in the main event. We'll start off here. Hair versus hair match. Mandy Rose against Sonya Deville. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm glad they're on the SummerSlam show this year. They deserve it.
They do.
And 3 women's matches on SummerSlam. Think about that. Yeah. I'm going Mandy Rose here. I think
I'm also going Mandy Rose as well.
I think her promo last week solidified the fact that Sonya Deville's a fighter, so she shouldn't really care about having hair. So this is a little different than Molly Holly and Victoria from WrestleMania 20. But this should be a fun match. I'm going.
So it's an actual whoever wins gets their head shaved.
Yeah.
Oh, Mandy Rose is definitely going to win.
Yes. Let's start here. Apollo Crews against MVP for United States Championship. I got Apollo Crews winning due to the fact that this match has Benjamin and Lashley banned from ringside. That was a good stipulation they had for Ross to get those guys out of the way. I got Apollo winning here, but Retribution comes out and attacks both guys. They're coming out during one of these matches.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are.
I'm telling you guys right now, before you know it, Retribution will have a part at SummerSlam. It'll happen. Whether you like the group or not, they're good. You're not supposed to like the group. That's the thing. You're not supposed to like Retribution. That's why they're there. So I'm whether it's this match or the Raw Tag Team title match, they're coming out and attacking people. That's just definitely going to happen. So I got Apollo retain. Who you got in this one?
I think it's pretty clear that Apollo Crews is going to win this match. I can't see MVP winning the U.S. title. I think the guy to take the title off Apollo Crews is Bobby Lashley for sure.
Street Profits against Andrade and Angel Garza. I'm going with Andrade and Angel Garza to win this match.
Wow.
And this was the original match that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania this year, but it didn't happen due to Andrade suffering an injury before WrestleMania. Hence, Austin Theory was in Andrade's place.
Yeah, where's Austin Theory been?
No idea. But yeah, I'm going Andrade and Angel Garza to win this one.
I'm going to go with the Street Profits, and I'm going to say that it's going to kickstart the Andrade and Angel Garza team breakup and feud.
I can see that happening too. I like that. It's a toss-up, but this should be a pretty good wrestling match as well. So,
yeah,
that goes. Let's get into your girls. Let's get into the meats and potatoes of this show because we have two women's title matches and also riding Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Asuka. So I'll start with you. What's going to happen here, and how do we get to Payback next Sunday?
So, I mean, I've thought long and hard about this. Obviously, we've talked a lot about this, off air, on air. I've talked about it on TBD. I mean, I at length with Bayley and Sasha. I'm happy that they're going into SummerSlam as double champs. But I do believe that this is going to be the start of their breakup. And it was obvious when Bayley made the comment on SmackDown, now I finally have something important to fight about. She didn't really care. I think it's pretty, to me, which apparently there was a rumor yesterday that Sasha might retain this time of year, SummerSlam, when they're trying to confuse people. And I did say earlier in the show that, I would much rather Shayna pin Sasha than Asuka. But just based on the story of Sasha and Bayley knocking Kairi Sane out, I think Asuka gets her revenge and does beat Sasha Banks. But I think Bayley retains first. And King was the first one to come up with this, so I don't want to take that away from this. Was King.
Okay.
I do believe Bayley definitely retains with the help of Sasha. I think that's obvious. And then later in the show, I think that Bayley, like King said, Bayley throws in the towel and walks away to the surprise of Sasha. And that's how Asuka wins. She has the Raw Championship. Sasha and Bayley are kind of do the, oh, I'm sorry, confused thing. And then at Payback, Bayley does it again and walks out of their tag team match. Sasha gets destroyed. And then we kickstart this feud for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And this is the main feud for SmackDown of the fall through Night of Champions and Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. And then maybe they get split up until we get to WrestleMania. But hey, at the same time, with all that being said, I could definitely see them continuing this and having that big match at WrestleMania. My initial SummerSlam prediction was that they might do a triple threat for all the gold, but that's obviously not going to happen.
I love all that they just said there. I love to see that play. I really do. I like that concept. Here's my other idea here. Sasha interferes and helps Bayley retains, but Stephanie comes out in the Thunderdome and says, you know what? You guys want to keep interfering and messing around with the rules? All three of you are in a triple threat match, and both titles are on the line.
That would be unbelievable. I just got the chills thinking about that. And hey, in that respect, I could see Sasha winning that match and Bayley just getting jealous, and that kickstarts the feud. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But I think that it's pretty obvious that they want to do this feud for a long time. After WrestleMania 36, Sasha stared Bayley down. There's just been little tidbits for years and years, and we've talked about this plenty. But SummerSlam is the perfect, and Payback, and to set the stage for the fall is the perfect time to actually have this turn happen. Yeah.
If that happens with the Stephanie scenario that I came up with, pencil time with Joshie. But, if that happens, I could see Asuka winning both belts and having it be full circle from where we started at Money in the Bank, because she said whoever wins this match, she's up next. So we'll see what happens there. Those are going to be two good matches. I'm really looking forward to see how they go about this. I don't think you could do referee shenanigans again like you did the last couple of shows. So we'll see what happens. All right. We got a couple more before we head out here this week. Dominic Mysterio against Seth Rollins in the street fight. Guys, germs, ladies, everybody, a 15-year heel turn has been in the waiting. And what perfect time for WWE Thunderdome to return and having fans and seeing Dominic turn on his father. And Seth Rollins will beat Dominic, but Dominic will turn on Rey Mysterio. Boom!
And guess what? I agree with you 100%. That I don't need to say anything else about it. 100%. Dominic could lay down, but I don't see Seth losing to Dominic in this match at all. And Seth kind of teased on backstage there was one person he wanted in with the Monday Night Messiah stable, and I could see Dominic joining Seth Rollins at SummerSlam.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah.
Hearing the dejection from Byron Saxton. Why?
It's just gonna make me think of Derek at home.
Oh my God. Thank God for Samoa Joe on commentary, by the way.
Yeah, I also want to say that I think Samoa Joe is going to be leaving that commentary table pretty soon.
Hopefully.
Pretty obvious he's going to feud with Seth Rollins.
Hopefully.
Which will be awesome.
Yes. All right, the last 2 months, let's go with the big top matches. You ready? Braun Strowman against The Fiend. I got Braun Strowman retaining here, but the return of the big dog comes into fruition.
Mm-hmm. I think Reigns will return this weekend, but I'm going to go with The Fiend. I think that this story has been played out great, and it's been cool to see it come full circle with the whole Wyatt family thing. But I think the company wants to do The Fiend and Roman Reigns. It's clear they were going to do it at WrestleMania. I thought that if the whole COVID thing happened, it's going to happen after Mania as well. So I think The Fiend wins. We have a new champion.
I like that idea too. Crazy sneak that Braun Strowman dropped Alexa Bliss last week like that. How are you gonna drop good waterfall like that? At least it's a waterfall you can rely on. Hell,
I don't care about her.
She's a liar. You use me. No, check my phone right here. I'll show you what use looks like.
We did it.
All right. Main event, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for the WWE title. This is a proper match to close out the show on Sunday. Looking forward to it. This will be an awesome match. I'm going to agree with my Uncle Jeremy here. Edge costs Randy Orton the match. And Drew McIntyre retains with Claymore.
Yep, that was my exact thing I was going to say.
You gotta have Orton and Edge Part 3 somewhere.
Yep.
So.
Well, my only thing is he doesn't even have to, even if he's in a sling and he just comes out, doesn't have to get physical, and just Randy Orton is like, what the hell, you're already back. Claymore, we're done.
The music plays and Thunderdome goes nuts. That'd be pretty cool. Man, maybe get a little glimpse of what WrestleMania was supposed to look like with the Thunderdome with these entrances.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Dunn said that it's going to be a bigger spectacle entrance than WrestleMania. I mean, that's pretty lofty, but we'll see.
Wherever it is, it's just going to be cool to see fans around the area. So, we'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to see what happens. So, all right, man. SummerSlam coming up this weekend. It should be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, apologize for the phone. I am in the middle of my living room.
I think the people of Seattle want you to blow the horn today. They want you to set it off.
They want me to set the horn off, and the phone's ringing, so that means we gotta head on out of here. It's like stupid bull. Yeah, it's really like just stupid bullshit collect calls down here. Pretty much, it's so. I hate
spam.
So stupid.
It's brutal.
But yeah, Josh, this was a blast.
Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, it was fun as always, especially for National Recording Day. We had to do it.
Yeah, National Radio Day, ladies.
Radio Day.
Appreciate the support, everybody. Make sure to subscribe right now to the TBD Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you.
Tell everybody what's going on in the show this week, because I know you're recording it later on today.
Yeah, so I like Josh said, I am the host of the TBD Wrestling Podcast with referee Tony S. That's at referee Tony S. We have a great time. We do the 3 count, which is, like I said earlier, a segment where you fans send your questions on sports, on life, on wrestling, anything. It really gives the show like a very nice flow because we kind of go in and out with, topics and stuff. This week on TBD, we're going to be doing predictions first for NXT TakeOver and for SummerSlam, and then we'll get to your questions afterwards. But looking forward to a fun show with Tony. And then next week, this guy right here, Joshie, is going to make his long-awaited debut to TBD Wrestling. And I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a big part of the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we actually, another thing about TBD is we do a thing called the Rewind, where we did that last week, where Tony picked a match that I had never seen before, and he didn't tell me before I started it. And it was Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero, and I think it was ECW like 1995. Great wrestling match, and had a lot of fun doing it. And the funny thing is the commercials, like seeing the commercials.
I remember that.
Like it was hilarious, like how bad the commercials were, and like looking at the crowd. But me and Tony have a lot of fun. We got great chemistry. It's always a joy to talk and talk about wrestling, hang out with Tony. So I'm looking forward to recording today, and appreciate you having me on the show again. It's always a good time.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Folks, you can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast each and every single week on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast from. The show is sponsored by Anchor and Spotify. Appreciate the support, everybody. Send some reviews, more importantly. You can send your reviews as far as like predictions. That can even be a review. Just hit it up in the Apple Podcast section. Leave us a review. Tell us, let us know what you like or dislike about the show. I want to get some honest feedback on the show, so any support is appreciated. Next week, I'll be recapping SummerSlam as well as TakeOver, and then the Saturday show. Next week, I'll be recording with King HR and having our State of Wrestling Media coverage show, so that should be a lot of fun. So for Matt McCool, which you can follow him, by the way, on Twitter at MattMcCool24 and at Instagram. Same thing over there. For Mitchell McBeal, I am the one and only Brother Adam. Thank you guys so much for checking out episode 219 of the Hoots Podcast. Try to enjoy the Thunderdome, and more importantly, enjoy SummerSlam weekend. And right now, we're going to send it off to the one and only Director of Operations, Brother Carter, with the Thoughts of Jericho. This has been the Hoots Podcast. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself and stop being indecisive. We're out. Peace.